Hi for data communications laboratory experiment 2. This is entitled basic switch and end device configuration. So to start the experiment, of course, first we need to download this pka file. So I already downloaded it, and here it is. Let's just open it. It would open the Cisco packet tracer, and as you can see here, it opened the experiment itself. So here the title is packet tracer basic switch and end device configuration. You can see the devices in the logical view. It is also listed here, the addressing table. So class A, it's a VLAN 1, class B is also VLAN 1, student 1 is NIC, student 2 is NIC. This class A and class B are switches, and these um, student 1 and student 2 are um, end devices, which are PCs. So these are their IP addresses and their subnet mask. So the objectives of this experiment is: first, configure host names and IP addresses on two Cisco Internet Network Operating System switches using the command line interface or the terminal of these end devices. Next, use Cisco iOS commands to specify or limit access to the device configurations. So later we will see how we're going to do that. And third, use iOS commands to save the running configuration. Fourth, configure two host devices with IP addresses. And lastly, to verify connectivity between the two PC and devices. So the scenario for this experiment is: as a recently hired LAN technician, your network manager has asked you to demonstrate your ability to configure a small LAN. Your tasks include configuring initial settings on two switches using the Cisco iOS and configuring IP address parameters on host devices to provide end-to-end connectivity. You are to use two switches and two hosts or PCs on a cabled and powered network. So the instructions are to configure the devices to fulfill the requirements below. So these are the requirements. I would go on each requirement one by one, and once I finish one, I'll move on to the next requirements. So the first requirement is to use a console connection to access each switch. So to be able to do that, we're going to click on connections and find console here. As you can see, this blue one right here, light blue, is the console. So to do that, let's connect class A console and connect it to PC 1 or student 1 RS232. There, and let's just repeat that on the second switch and the second PC. There. So requirement 1 is done. Next, name class A and class B switches. So to be able to do that, for class A switch, we're going to click on student 1, this end device, click on desktop terminal and click on OK. Here, we're going to click enter, hit enter rather, and we're going to type enable because we're going to enable the switch. And now we're going to configure, because we are to configure the switch and name them class A and class B. So it's going to ask configure from terminal, memory, or network. Terminal. And next, now that it is already configured on its terminal, we're going to change the host name to what is asked from us. So here, this is at student 1, it is connected to class A, so we're going to switch the switch name here to class A and click enter. And as you can observe, switch config became class A config. Next, we're going to repeat the same procedure on class B switch using student 2 and device PC. So click on terminal, okay, enter, enable, configure from terminal, and the host name for this is class dash p. There, it successfully changed. So let's just close that. And next procedure is to use the 8UB capital RU password for all lines. So to be able to do this third requirement, again, let's configure the first switch class A. So to do that, click on student 1 terminal, okay. So here what we're going to type first is line, because we are to set the password for all lines. So let's type line console 0, and as you can see here, class A configure line. We're going to set the password to this 8UB capital RU. So type password space 8UB capital RU there, and click on login. No errors. Then exit. We already exited the line, and it's now back to class A config. And now type line VTY 0 to 15 and type password space 8UBRU there, and again log in and exit. Next, we're going to repeat that here. So again, we're going to type line console 0, and the password again is 8UBRU, and we're going to log in and then exit. And the next is line again VTY 0 to 15, sorry, for all lines, and the password is 8UBRU. No, sorry, the password is 8UB capital R U, and then log in and exit. So for the fourth requirement, use this password for the secret password. So to do that, click on student 1, configure first switch, and here what we're going to type is enable secret, and then type the password WRE. And next, for the next switch, the same, enable secret, and then space, type the password there. Next, the fifth requirement is to encrypt all clear text passwords. So to do that, let's just stay on student 2 and type service space password dash encryption, and once we do that, repeat it on the first. So again, service password encryption. So next is to configure an appropriate message of the day MOTT banner. So let's first edit for the student 1 or switch 1. So to do this requirement, type on banner space MOTT space the message that you want to mm, put on the banner. So let's just say hello, good day, and enclose it with a end sign like that. Let's just remove this. I'm going to remove the column. Let's just put hello, good day there. And there. And for switch 1, same procedure. Banner, type banner MOTD and a message. So end sign, hello, good night. There. Now we're done. So for the next requirement, configure addressing for all devices according to the addressing table. So here. So now that we've put an appropriate message of the day, we've already configured it to the switches. So by the way, that banner or message of the day is just an example of, it's not the basic or the common banner or message that you would see on a switch. I just made that up. So moving on, the next requirement is to configure addressing for all devices according to the addressing table. So according here. So to do that, click on the end device for one switch. Here it's switch 1 class A. Click on IP configuration. Here for student 1, the IP address should be this, right? So let's copy. I can copy. So okay, let's just type it: 172.16.5.50 there. And subnet mask was automatically filled with this, but as you can see, that's not the required here. It's not the same, so let's just change it. So 255, 255, 255. Next, let's repeat that exact process for the second switch. So for student 2, the IP address is 172.16.5.60. Subnet again was automatically filled, but we can change this because it is not the required on our it is not the same on our addressing table. So there, it's now the same. Let's just close on that. Let's click on terminal, and here on class A, or let's configure and let's see the interface. So let's see the interface on VLAN 1. VLAN 1, this is VLAN 1, right? And let's VLAN space 1. It is incomplete command. Oh, I just figured we need to put this IP address and subnet mask for the class A switch. So what we're going to do is type on IP space address and type the IP address for class A, switch 16.5.35 space 255.255.255.0, and let's type on no shutdown. Okay. And let's repeat the same procedure on student 2. So we're going to set the IP address for class B. So, no, terminal, and here we're going to type on, we're going to type interface for VLAN 1, and we're going to type the IP address for class B, which is 172.16.5.40 space 255.255.255.0, and again no shutdown. There. So now what we're going to do is, since we're already finished configuring the addressing for all devices according to the addressing table, we're now to save the configurations too. So to do that, go on terminal, hit your Control Z button. So now we're at the system config, and what we're going to do here is just type copy the no, we're going to enter first. So class A lalabas, and copy running the dash configuration. Sorry, it should be copy space running dash config and start up dash config. So it would run the configurations on startup, and just hit enter and okay here. So we'll repeat that on the second switch. Here we'll be repeating what we did on the first. So for a clearer instruction, what we're going to type for saving the configuration is, first hit on Control Z, it would open system config, and we're going to type on copy, enter muna, and then copy space running dash config space startup dash config. There. And yes, destination file name startup, and class B is okay. So we're going to close this. So the last requirement is to verify connectivity between all devices. So to verify the connectivity, we need to take note of the IP address, because we need to ping it on the other end device. So we're going to ping the IP address of student 2 in student 1. So to do that, click on student 1 command prompt and type ping. We're going to ping the end device student 2. So we're going to type this IP address 172.16.5.60. When I hit enter, it should successfully ping the second device. So let's check. So there, as you can see, it's pinging the IP address of student 2 with 32 bytes of data. There. So it's working. Next, let's check naman student 2. let's ping the IP of student 1. So ping 172.16.5.50. There, it's also working. So here, we can check the results. If here, as you can see, completion is 100%, as we can also observe from the verified connectivity on the devices. So let's just check the results here and the assessment items. As you can see, basic security configuration, all of it is correct. So I think we did it. So here, I'm just going to change it to my name. Okay, so when we check the results, as you can see here, you have your name. Correct, successful. And that's it for experiment 2, packet tracer, basic switch and end device configuration.